Klaus Bergman, 89 Division Street. I'm sort of torn here a little bit because, as you know, or as you might know, we live right at the corner of the railroad crossing on 89th Street. And we have Van Dusenville Road on the right and Guthrie Center. So we moved here in December last year, and we love the place and we love the house, so there's no problem there. But we've discovered that with the closing of the bridge, the truck traffic has diminished considerably. So we, in that sense, traffic-wise, it's been a good move for us. But I want to bring this into a larger picture. I think it's really scandalous that we have two bridges in this town, which I always thought of as a very well-run town in a very well-run state. I mean, we moved to Massachusetts because it's a well-run state. And that two bridges are closed. Now, there's got to be something about it, and I echo the gentleman here about that. I mean, we don't really need the bridge, but we go to Taft's Farm, we go up to Housatonic and around and down 183 to Taft Farm, where we buy a lot of things, groceries and things. But this needs to be looked at, I mean, in an emergency way. This just can't go on that you say that the bridge at Cottage Street or whatever, I heard or read in the paper that it might open in 5 years. And what about the Division Street Bridge? And what about the big bridge that crosses, that you go on 7 from northern part of Great Barrington into downtown? I mean, that looks pretty bad too.
That's a state bridge, so
I know, okay. But still, you know, bridges and infrastructure are the essence of running a city and a town. And if you can't fix those things, every citizen here will be negatively affected. So I urge you to look at this. But at the same time, why not, if you do fix the bridge at Division Street, or for that matter at Cottage Street, maybe the trucks don't need to go there. Maybe you open the bridge, rebuild it or fix it, and it's for bicycles and pedestrians and private practice. And keep those big trucks away, which obviously have affected the bridge and the way it's lasted, or not lasted, I should say. So again, I urgently ask you to look at this, because I do think that this is a basic and major issue for the town to deal with. Thank you very much.
thank you. Anyone else?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Bruce LeBear, 78 Division Street. It is my understanding that the state has deemed the Division Street Bridge at a 0 load rating. I believe that's correct. Since I'm here, I'm glad that the board's looking at policies and procedure for their actions, because myself and I know another person has been approached by a board member saying, why are you here? You don't need to be here because what's on the agenda has been postponed. So I'm glad that you're doing that. Thank you.
Yeah, and just so you know, that's not the board's feeling.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But to be approached by any board member, I know. That's
I
why
want you to know that's not our feeling.
I know.
Yeah.
But to not be encouraged to be here. But thank you for me.
Anyone else?
May I say another quick thing?
Yeah,
Bridges.
really quick, because I'm breaking every policy we have.
Just a real quick thing about the bridges. You say the Brown Bridge is a state bridge. Are they gonna act with the same suddenness that they did with this when they do that one? And then what happens?
I appreciate that.
You know, they're very sudden about these things. We had all of what, 4 days notice?
Okay, anyone else?
Is this,
Well, there's someone there.
is this a citizen speak?
Yes.
Okay. So I'd like to just,
Give your name and
Jeffrey House, 99 Hilbert Road. So there's a couple of questions I want to have answered is
So
this,
just what you missed, and I'm not gonna
okay,
is that this is the time for you to speak. We're not gonna get in a dialogue, so there's not a question and answer period. But we'll be
Okay.
glad to listen, and then at some
Yeah.
point, we'll talk.
okay. So, just, I wanted to ask you one question. Is the state planning on putting a rotary at the intersection of Route 23 and 7?
That is a plan.
That's a plan.
That's a plan.
Is that a go plan, or is that just like a plan that's gonna be 2 years from now or 3 years from now?
I don't know the data. They are designing.
Well, I mean, that should be something you should look into, because, I mean, I've lived here my whole life, I drive on that road hundreds of times in my life, and I've never once sat at that intersection and wondered, why doesn't somebody do something with this intersection? So, if the state, in all their wisdom, is gonna plan on spending money there, and I understand that they're also gonna take some people's land to do that. So, that's one question, okay, like, that we need to,
Okay.
we just can't sit back all the time and say, oh, it's a state project, we can't do anything about it. So the next thing is, since we're talking about the bridges, you do know what the situation is if they close the Brown Bridge down, right?
Yes.
You know what will probably happen to all the businesses in town, because it basically would end up being a dead-end street,
We're well over.
right? So even though you said it's a state bridge, okay, I don't know how the state works, but on a scale of 1 to 10, where is this bridge rated in the state's priority list, right? Or do they even know it? Because if they come and close that bridge down, okay, there is no place for trucks to go up Route 7, okay? Where would they go? Would they go across Robert Road, then go down Division Street, across the little bridge before you get to Division Street, which is already probably, could be, quote, bad bridge, and then go what, north into West Stockbridge to get back to Route 7? I mean, it's like, it's a bad situation. And we just can't sit back here and say, oh, it's a state bridge and they'll do whatever they want to do with it.
So all I said was it was a state bridge, so we don't have the control over money. But the state is coming in spring to do metal work on it and paint the bridge. The state's aware.
I understand, I heard that it was gonna be closed down to one lane.
So it may be at times during construction. We
Okay,
don't
so
know.
one lane, and then if they decide, oh, at the other end of town, they're gonna do a rotary, well, I mean, like, really? And we're gonna sit back as a community and let the state come in here and just totally, I mean, what would that do to businesses in town?
State works for the administration, so we're not just sitting back and letting things happen.
Okay, well, I'm hoping not,
Yeah,
because,
we're not.
I mean, if you sit down and analyze what would happen if they did close that bridge down, there's no place for trucks to go.
Yeah,
No place for anybody to go.
We're-
So that's, hope you would address that.
Anyone else? Seeing none.
Just me.
Oh, go ahead. I'm
Sorry. Hi, I'm Denise Grove Street, 25 North Plain Road. I feel their pain because I have to go over that division bridge all the time, but I can't to take my little grandchildren to school. So I have to go all the way around town before I get to school, which means we have to leave 20 minutes earlier. And when you're dealing with a 5 and a 6-year-old early in the morning, those 20 minutes matter. And Taft Farms is one of the places we go to all the time, which we have to go all the way around. So we really would love for that bridge to get fixed, but I understand state funds. You don't have any jurisdiction, but I just wanted to mention my support for Taft Farms and all the locals that are suffering because of that.
I agree to that. Just to clarify, that bridge is our nickel, and we do have an engineers
Okay.
working on it.
Okay, because
So-
my builder said he could get it fixed. All you need to do is put a lot of cement under it.
Anyone else? Seeing no one else? Select board time.
I do, I should have said it earlier.